What is going on, everybody? Hope you're all having a great Friday. I'm Bobby, and I'm flying solo. I have no Eric. I have no Mark is on vacation. Eric is out. It's a solo show for me today, so I'm gonna do basically as if I would have done my 5 and 5 right now. Let's get into it real quick and talk it through. This is a slate that I really feel like there's still going to be information. We have a lot of Q tags, a lot of things up in the air. You'd think Miami would play to win at this point of the season if anybody's even like questionable. So I'm still planning on those guys being in. If they're not, that could change the slate. We have the Knicks situation, which could change the slate. We have stuff we probably don't know about. I still am skeptical about what the Wizards will do. At least we'll know that one before the first game. So we're going to have to sort of play by ear. But the guys who I think you're prioritizing now, with which, you know, again, there's a lot of guys to choose from. Really like Chris Dunn, priority play. Really like I'm coming around a little bit on Macklemore, but I don't like it. I'm hoping to switch that off to something else. It's just a later game, so it's a delay. I like Beverly. I like Conley or Mitchell in all my lineups pretty much. I think that most of my lineups will have one of Conley or Mitchell, only a few that wouldn't. I really like Kevin Porter Jr. I'm okay with Deshaun Tate. I'm a little concerned with the minutes, and I'm a little bit off on I don't know if I trust the minutes for Ish. I want to hear more information from these games. I want some more I want some news on you know that maybe it's wrong to wait for it, but it's the back-to-back for a team that's tanking, you know, in Washington. The guy like Kristaps who's hurt. Like, you'd think there'd be something. We already have Gafford out. Maybe Thomas Bryant would get in the mix. I don't know if they would let him go long. That's the problem. Is like they're on the verge of being very shorthanded, down to 10 bodies, but like, I don't know. So I'm still trying to figure out the situation. I'm still thinking we hear like a late, hey, this guy isn't going to play thing. That's just what happens this time of year. And it's really frustrating because I want to come on these shows and give you guys an exact thing to do. But the problem is it's no good if right when I get off something we totally don't predict. So I'm just sort of counting for everything. But Washington, I'm still sort of waiting. And their other guys are okay-ish value as it is at their current prices. But I think they become like awesome plays if you get Kristaps or anybody else for that matter. Let's see. What else have we got? I mentioned the Mitchell or Conley thing. I think Utah, you want to attack them in this matchup. Like Royce O'Neal is I have him in a placeholder lineup. I'm still hoping to switch that off to something else. This is a good game environment for him, but like I want later value. I want to see what's happening. I want to see, you know, Portland might randomly start some sort of weird freaking lineup that we don't even know about. Houston is tanking as well. Maybe Şengün, they'll let him ride it out with him. I really just think we have to be ready for that this time of year. And but as I've got it right now, one of Embiid or Harden on DraftKings, I would prefer Embiid. I am not as high on Luka as everybody else is tonight. I think he's okay. I think on FanDuel, it's going to be like, he's probably a good fade on FanDuel and a good play on DK just because the ownership difference is the pricing difference. But like, I'm going to play him in my current lineup on FanDuel, but I don't know. I mean, it's on DraftKings at 12K. He really hasn't been as productive with Dinwiddie and you know, Brunson both available. So, you know, I don't know. So anyways, that's just my take on Luka. I'm siding a little bit with Embiid on DraftKings. On FanDuel, it's hard to fade Luka, but I'm suggesting if you're playing multiple lineups, you definitely get some exposure to some non-Luka lineups. Obviously, he's a good play. Guys like Greg Brown are like sort of popping up on some of the optimizers. I think it's okay to go with guys like that. But the way I'm treating that is I still expect there to be news. Let's use those guys as placeholders for now. The real priority is I think we do want to, you know, one of the Conley Mitchell. We want Gobert some. We want Embiid, and we want Christian Wood some. So all of those guys are all centers, obviously. And I don't even mind if you want to include Cat, by the way, in the mix, or play a Dwight Powell long shot. He just scored 40 against these guys the other day. He has the weird ceiling games, and we know how bad Minnesota leaks points to centers. So that's sort of my little core right there. I don't really have a whole lot else to get into until we get these lineups. And it's not like we can do an if this guy's out, if that guy's out, because Miami has 5 guys questionable. Like the Knicks have 2 major pieces questionable, and we just don't have the official word yet. So once we get the official word, it'll be a little easier to make sense of this slate. As it stands right now, those would be the guys I'm prioritizing. I actually have loaded on SaberSim, and I actually, outside of the maybe being a little skeptical about Ish Smith, and a little skeptical about Greg Brown, although I'm open to both of them. They're much higher on them than other sites are. I'm not going to give away what everything SaberSim saying because they but I actually agree with their order of value plays pretty much. I'm a little nervous about Killian Hayes potentially losing some minutes to Frank Jackson. I don't know why Detroit keeps letting these other guys play and not just let their young guys, who's the future, run everything, but that's what's happening. Anyway, so those are my sort of priorities. Get in and pop in and say hello, ask some questions. Love that you guys are using the SaberSim stuff. I think it's awesome. And by the way, just a little shout out to some SaberSim stuff from last night. Lance Stevenson was a play that they loved that no one else's projection did, and they freaking nailed it. And obviously, partly it was due to the blowout. That's because that game was going to blow out, which is what I kept saying on air. It seemed very hard that Indiana was going to stay in that game. And if that happens, it's either going to be Washington or Lance. And we know Lance is the guy you want to play. So actually, I used Lance in one of my 2-7-7-7s, but some of it was it wasn't entirely because of SaberSim, but I did like that their projection was on that one. And they've been really, really good lately with some of these guys. So I would encourage you guys to get the SaberSim package. And if you want to know how to do so, everybody can help you in chat and all that. While you're here, please, guys, like and subscribe and all that stuff. Mark said, I don't even know if Mark, did you make it down to Myrtle already? That was quick, man. I guess it's maybe you're just about to leave. I don't know. Should say what's up to K9 Bronco. It's the sort Dunbar. What do you mean? How do I know that they like plays? It's the value ranking. It's right there on that's the main. It's basically like the point per dollar. So the highest point per dollar plays I agree with. I'm not going to go into all of who those guys are. I did mention two of them that I'm not quite as sure about as SaberSim likes, which were Greg Brown and Ish Smith. But I'm not going to talk about all the other ones. I do have all my plays listed and my core listed on for both DraftKings and FanDuel on SaberSim through TrueDFS. So all you have to do is sort by value. That's the best way to do it. I should say. Alec Burks or Killian Hayes wow, that's a question that should never, ever come up. I don't even know how that's a decision point. Why are they? They're like 2,000 different. I don't know how to even answer it. Like, so what kind of build? What is making you try to decide between those guys? Those are not relative, like even similar price range. You have 6,100 Alec Burks in a terrible matchup, and you've got Killian Hayes when we just got news that Frank Jackson was back, which is going to steal just some minutes probably. I don't know how that's like. I really don't understand how to answer that question on DK. So if you could rephrase it, I'm happy to go through it again, but I don't understand what that means. I actually think sometimes I feel like I'm being trolled with those questions. I don't think so. Green Monster has some good ones too, but I don't know. So are they trolls? Are they trolling questions? Are you trying to trick me? And I don't know. I'm just not sure because I never understand those specific ones. What do I think about Terrence Mann to get a lot of those Clippers men? I'm not interested in Terrence. I'm not playing any Clippers tonight. I completely understand the logic of it. I would say, especially with where they're at, they're sort of secured in their playoff spot. You're not really going to see anybody, I don't think, crazy overextended. Terrence Mann isn't currently starting. My favorite play on their side would be Hartenstein, and it's a long shot play at best. And Terrence Mann's a long shot play at best. Somebody probably gets there. I don't have Terrence Mann just feels like you want to play him because he's had to put up big games lately. You could do that. I don't mind Terrence Mann. I just don't particularly find myself needing to get to him on DK. But I don't mind it. It's an adequate play. I think I would probably even take Marcus Morris over him if I was in that price tier, but it's close between those two. Yeah. Anyway, he's been pretty good lately when the games have been close. So I got you. What's up, Rashad? I'm playing Embiid and Harden together on DK. No, I'm not. I'm playing Embiid and not too much of Harden, but I don't mind Harden. Let's see. All right, what else have we got here? All right. All right, let's see what else we got. Jalen Green, a good play. I actually have a little bit of interest in Jalen Green. And let's there's a wide range of outcomes. I guess it's a similar-ish play to Terrence Mann. So that's sort of a range that you might find yourself in, I guess. I'm a little bit on the Green side, a little bit over. I mean, I feel like the minutes are become more secure. Obviously, the projection systems like Green more than they do Mann. And I think it's for a reasonable reason. He does have a wide range of outcomes. It wouldn't surprise me if he puts up like 15 fantasy points, but it wouldn't surprise me if he puts up 35 or 40 either. It's a great matchup. I actually really think it's a matchup that lends itself to him. So, and I want some Houston exposure. I want exposure to this awful Houston-Portland game. I just don't even know who I'm playing from it yet. Like, you never know what's going to happen with these teams that are totally tanking. You might see a guy who at 9 o'clock Eastern who gets scratched, and I just would rather have exposure to the game anyway. So I'm sort of backloading with the intent of playing the Utah guys, waiting to see what's going to happen with Washington. But my most of my lineups are backloaded, assuming that everybody plays for the Knicks and Miami and all that. All right. All right, so let's get it back to it. Sorry, guys, I've got a few things that I'm checking on while I'm doing this. Drop in any news if you're not doing it, because I'm going to try to go through with you guys. I already went through my plays. It's not that complicated of a slate right now. It's probably going to get complicated, and I'll be in Discord again, reminding you guys. Like, I do think it's good to have the guys and be ready in Discord for all the changes that we're inevitably going to have to make today. All right, let's get to the next one. Would I play Gobert with Mitchell or Conley on FanDuel? I don't think you need to play. I don't think there's any reason to like try to correlate them together. There's absolutely no reason to correlate them together, in my opinion. They both have good matchups. You can do it if you want to play both those guys. Yeah, and I like those guys. So I really like Wood, Embiid, and Gobert. And I am basically between my lineups. I sort of have them somewhat split. I think Gobert is probably my favorite, but I could easily make an argument for the other two. They're all very close. All right, let's see. What online poker? There's no poker site. That's that's the Discord channel. Jump on in the Discord if you're not there. It's just the Discord notifications popping off because everybody's trying to write something. All right, let's get back to it. Oh, you can see that I left my door open. That's pretty funny. That's actually something that my girlfriend got. So I'm actually going to do this real quick and close my door because it does feel like a little window into my soul. All right, let's see. Any Jeremy Grant interest on DK tonight? He's been surprisingly solid the last few games. The forgotten guys a little bit. I feel like are not forgotten. It's just the Detroit guys are all just, if you play them, you just play them. Like, I mean, there's no difference in them every night, basically. Jeremy Grant, does he get hot? Does he make 7 out of 9 threes again? Sure, maybe. You know what I mean? It's just not the way I play DFS to just look. He could end up in a line. No, he couldn't tonight. I just don't. There's no logical reason to play him. It's just chasing. He's making a lot of threes, or he made 7. He's made 9 out of his last 13 threes, and his usage rate is definitely something to be encouraged about. But maybe there's something with rotations of that. But again, they added another body back. I don't know. Doesn't feel like a play that I'm very fond of myself, but. Again, it wouldn't surprise me if Jeremy Grant or Saddiq Bey put up a huge game. I actually think if I was going to play one of them, I would not be the the chaser. I would play Saddiq Bey. I think he's got a higher ceiling. They both have non-existent floors. Neither one of those guys is making the cut for me, especially with the possibility of not having information later. That's a big part of why. I do have Kristaps in a lineup right now. I'm a little nervous about that one on the back-to-back, and I don't like this game at all for Washington. I think Detroit is going to beat up on them pretty good, as I put in my bets. But, yeah, that's where I'm at. I don't know. Jordan Poole out on DK with Curry out. Yeah, Jordan Poole is like I said earlier. So Jordan Poole is a really solid play, and I said it earlier in the videos, and I said it in every night basically. Now he just played a game without Klay Thompson and Draymond Green. Also, those guys are back tonight. If you're good, it's a shooting reliant play. I don't mind it at all. I don't like that he's getting some ownership. I think he's a better play than the other 7K guys that we talked about a minute ago, but I definitely don't mind it in a good matchup. But there's no his price is baked into that 7,800. You know what I mean? Like the games where he's really gone off have mostly been games where there've been multiple guys out. There's been a couple exceptions where even when Steph was there, he just got crazy hot. He's got that ability all the time, but he made 7 out of his 13 threes the other night against Miami, and that was without the other guys, which is why they stayed in the game and won the game. I don't know if they'll need him quite as much with Draymond. I actually really like Draymond on FanDuel, and I think that you could play him on DraftKings as a long shot play. But I personally am not getting to as much Jordan Poole as I initially thought I might get to some. I'm just fine with it. That's where I stand. How much do we trust Rudy to smash open the Hornets tonight. As I said, Rudy, Embiid, or Wood are going to be taking up a lot of my centers, pretty much all of my center spots. Maybe I'll have one long shot of the Dwight Powell. Washington will make changes to the starting lineup tonight per Unseld. See, you guys, it's not always just this crazy thing. One time we had this, it was like, oh, you say this every day. You say we always have to wait. I'm like, that's because we do. This is the NBA. This is how you win at NBA is you have to stay up on it and be ready for the moves. Unfortunately, it's the first game, but that stuff is going to start happening a lot with the last 10 games of the season. You have the tank fest and then the teams that are desperate to win fest. For what it's worth, by the way, one name who's not getting talked about, and we are narrative driven, there's some narratives going on with the way Miami's been playing and with the fight on the sideline. If Jimmy Butler plays, I think we kind of should play a little Jimmy Butler, by the way, on both sides. I didn't mention that one before. If he doesn't play, we're playing Bam or you could play Lowry or Hero, depending on whether Hero play. There's so many questionables in that game. It's driving me crazy. No, that's not a troll question. That's a legitimate question. What do I think of Jae'Sean Tate? I think Jae'Sean Tate is trending everything in the wrong direction. They're giving more and more minutes to Şengün, or in general, overall, they've given more minutes to Şengün. See, like he's projected to play 24 minutes. He hasn't played 24 minutes in the last 4 games. He hasn't played more than 22. Maybe you could argue this game stays closer. It does, help his style of play. His projection being as high as it is not warranted, in my opinion. So, yes, some exposure, but I will probably be below the field. Or I'll use him as my late night placeholder and keep waiting for the news. If anything happens in New York and Miami that we don't find out before 7, things like that, or who knows what kind of lineups they're going to roll out there. Who knows if Şengün then ends up starting. I want multiple pieces in those late games. So I like him more as a placeholder than I do as a play, but I certainly could see him thriving. It's just not like nothing has happened lately has given us any reason to feel confident in Jae'Sean Tate. He's scored over 21 fantasy points one time in the last 10 games. His minutes are going the opposite direction. But again, the upside against this Portland team is kind of hard to ignore for all these guys. So I think he's okay. I just don't think I think he's being a little bit over-owned and over-projected. Would I trust Obi Toppin? No, Green Monster. Okay. It all matters whether Randall. So we got to get these questions. We got to get this right. Obi Toppin did that because Julius Randle and Mitch Robinson was out. He had the front court. He and Jericho Sims had the front court to themselves. If Julius Randle and those guys play, we're not playing Obi Toppin. There's none under no circumstances. If he's starting, you can play him. If he's not, you're not touching him. Simple as that. And if he's starting and those guys are out, or even one of those guys is out, you should probably play him. But if both of them are out, you definitely should play him. He'd become the chalk of the slate, and for good reason. I think we should assume Cat's going to play. We've seen this situation every day. As of right now, I'm assuming Cat will play. But again, I'm backloading my lineups outside of the some of the Charlotte guys, and we'll see what Washington does with their shaking up their starting lineup. But that'll probably be it. But I really think that Green Monster, I think we should work on your overall strategy, because I think it feels like a lot of recent result games is what you're looking at. And I think that's a really big mistake in DFS, especially in basketball, more than any other sport in basketball. Well, arguably, because if you have 2 or 3 guys out, you're automatically going to have productive outings. And if you're the only big man on a team that usually has 4 big guys ahead of you, you're getting a huge boost. There's no boost for him tonight. So I just would think about questions like that a little. I would just try to think like what's actually happening that led to this, and and what led to it was Mitch Rob and Randall being out. Sorry if that's too simple for everybody, but that's I think we need to cover the points instead of just trying to chase recent scores. But obviously, if those guys are out, Obi Toppin again, he's a lock almost in your cash games, and if in your tournaments, you want to get exposure to him. Thanks, Nick. I appreciate it, because I do have a way of coming across kind of brash, and I don't like. It's not that I don't hate it about myself. I don't like it about myself. It's just I think it's the most effective way I can be good at doing this. And I learned that a long time ago at Roto Grinders, and the other people who I like doing it with, who were the most like that, were the people I trusted the most. And hopefully it's true for you guys. I just like to be blunt, and I want to try to make everybody affiliated, everybody watching any video, everybody a part of our site, everybody using SaberSim, everybody as much of a better player as I can. I have no problem. If I was allowed to, I would show you guys my lineups up till editing time. I just literally legally can't. And there's obviously some crossover for, this is be easier if it'd be better if you guys aren't in the same tournaments as me. And that's the real problem, is that every now and then you guys are going to beat me, or you're going to beat me with my own advice that I didn't listen to. Anyway, keep popping in any direct QQs, any 1v1s, any 2v2s, any overall thoughts. There's really nothing that I can cover until we get some starting lineups, so I can sit here quietly with my golf on in the background, my Discord going completely nuts, and that's pretty much it. I honestly am not building. This time of year, we always say wait till 6 to build lineups. I think this time of year it's like wait till 6:45 to get your lineups finished built or whatever, or like really started to be built, because who knows? And Washington's saying they're going to do something different when they're starting. Who knows what's going to happen? Maybe let me see something real quick if I can get in it. I think they're going to start Ish. That's right. Is that right? Because I'm seeing that now. Yeah, I think that's what I'm going to. I think that's probably what's going to happen. Which, if Ish starts, what does that mean to us? It means Ish is an awesome play. It also means that Satoransky and Neto shouldn't be overlooked necessarily, as long as they're on the roster. So anyway, that's interesting. Really appreciate that, Remo. Sorry about if I pronounced the name wrong, but I really appreciate that, man. It's very nice. Bogdanovich for Atlanta. So it's funny. So that's like a great example to me of like a really, like, why, first of all, he's questionable. So that's another thing we have to watch out for. Atlanta, I don't know where they're at with what they want to do, but they're going to end up in the playoffs, but they're probably going to end up right where they are. I think Bogdanovich is an awesome large field tournament, large field, small buy-in play. And that's the way I would put it. I actually like Trey a lot. I mean, if Bogdanovich is out, think about that. Like, what if this just happened and all of a sudden John Collins, Bogdanovich were ruled out? And I mean, wouldn't we automatically be going, oh, well, Trey's even going to have higher usage? And maybe it's another important one to look out for that came up later in the day. But I do like Bogdanovich if he plays as a large field play, but I don't think he shouldn't be a core play for anybody, I don't think. But I do think there's upside for him. So that's where I put it. Appreciate all the kind words, guys. Sarge got a top value on DK. So you want the top value? I mean, like I said, as I pointed out, if you guys are members of SaberSim through True DFS, I have my core listed, and it is basically the same as their core. The guy who I didn't have was Ish Smith, but I'm going to update that really quickly, because if Ish Smith does start, which when they say he's changing starting lineups, do we think that means they're going to start Satoransky? Maybe. So it's whoever starts here, Satoransky, but they're all three in play, and now you're going to get really low ownership on the other guys, and this team can get blown out by anybody on a back-to-back here, and even in Detroit. So, all right, so let's do that. Unfortunately, you know what? I have to set my course again because it just dropped them down. But it's pretty much the guys. If you sort by value on there, and Chris Dunn right now is probably the guy who I have the most in most of my lineups. I really like Kevin Porter Jr. I love Donovan Mitchell as a spend up, but that's not my favorite value play. Yeah. All right, and there we go. All right. So yeah, it's pretty in line with what SaberSim's thinking, which is kind of nice because it's a little different than what some of the other sites have tonight. All right, man. Hey, thank you, Nick, and you have a great weekend as well too, buddy. How do we play the spot on a player from the late game? Okay, can you? I'm confused a little bit. How do you play the spot on a player from the late game? The utility? So if you're playing a player in the late game, it has to be a utility spot if you can. I mean, you always want to have your latest players in the bottom of your screen. Just simple as that, I guess, if that's the question. And guys, we're gonna have to patience. We have some people who are more new to playing who have come on and joined the site lately. So we're gonna probably have to have some patience with maybe some questions that we think are obvious, and we should probably, I have to remind myself to be patient for that, because it's not everybody's been playing for years like we have, like a lot of us have. And if there's not a lot else, guys, I'm going to get out of here pretty soon. I'm glad to see a bunch of people tuning in. I would encourage people to check out the True DFS SaberSim package. I think we got a great thing here. You can get all of our core plays and everything as well. And yeah, it's kind of it's a good time to be a part of True DFS, I think. And we got a great little community. Things have been a little bit quieter because basketball has been really frustrating. It's just frustrating this time of year. It's like a lot of people tend to tune out and wait for baseball. I'm excited about baseball. But yeah, anyway, so this is basically all of the information I have. So unless we have any more QQs, oh, what's up, my man, Sensei Jay? Any QQs I'm happy to get into for 5 minutes, and then I'm going to go start building my lineups, which is really just going to be sitting and waiting for the starting lineups for these Wizards, Pistons, and then if we can get any news on Miami. I don't even think the early stuff is so exciting enough that I have to, like, outside of maybe Ish Smith and the Utah situation. I don't feel like I need to go out there and, I don't know, have anybody in those games. So I can go ahead and wait until, and then we'll find out about Bogdanovich, and then we'll find out about the Knicks and the Heat. And my guess is the Heat tend to probably play most of those guys. My guess is the Knicks possibly don't. I don't know. It could go either way with that one. Especially they're down in Miami. I mean, if that game feels like a blowout to me, even though that they do have the rivalry, you go down to Miami, you get the Miami flu from partying the night before, you know. I do like KPJ. I do like Jalen Green as well. I don't think I'm playing those two together, but it actually is a good enough matchup where I think it's fine to. But I would try to, if you're going to play multiple lineups and have exposures to both, I would try to separate those two. Or if you're going to play those two together, don't play Christian Wood in the same lineup. Play one of those guys with Christian Wood if you want to stack the game, or you could play those two guys together in a stack with no Wood. But I just am personally not getting to as many like that. I'm just sort of picking between them because I like Conley a lot as well, and same price as Jalen Green. How do you see the value guys again ranked by Saber score? I don't see any sort by value. That it's right there. I don't know how else to put it. It's literally if you're in SaberSim, I can't share my screen because I can't give away projections to people who aren't paying for the thing. We can do it. I'll do this. I'll make my screen smaller and I'll do that. I'm going to share it like this. Because I don't understand. So let's see. Here we go. Let me share this. Okay, 1 second. Let's share window. Let me do this. Okay. Sorry guys, this is taking me a minute just because had to rearrange my page a little bit to try and make this work so I can explain this. Because if anybody else is having any problems with SaberSim, let us know. But like I'm sharing my screen. Oh, it's not sharing my screen. Oh my God, it's not even allowing me to. If you look right under where the name on the same line, the name of the players is. If you move over the share screen, the plays are right there. The value guys, it just says value. Does anybody else not see this? Like I feel like it's the name. It says name, like the name of the players. You know. Then there's you can set your core, the status, the salary, the position, the team, the opponent, the SS projection, your own personal projection, which is I'm defaulted to SS, and then there's value after that. Do you see what I'm talking about? Anyway, any other DFS related questions I'm happy to answer, and SaberSim ones. Oh, okay. No, it's okay. I just couldn't figure out if I was like if maybe something was showing up on my end but not showing up on the other end. Okay, no big deal. So we're all good on that, and I'm probably going to get out of here because it sounds like the questions are drying up because we really have more information to wait. I will be in Discord answering questions. A reminder to you guys that Discord is not going to be free for much longer. It'll be free for everybody who's a member of the site, who's joined the site in any capacity, whether it's us, whether it's SaberSim us, whether it's anything like that. But it is not going to be free to everyone for much longer, unfortunately, because we have to. We're going to treat this more like a training, coaching back and forth and talking session. Like we really. We waited a lot longer than we planned to initially. So just a heads up to check it out while you still can, or decide whether maybe that or not that makes you want to be a member at some point. Anyway, guys, I appreciate you all. Good luck to everyone tonight. I hope somebody from True DFS takes it down. Hopefully it's me and you guys. Can we both win? Somebody else win the $15, let me win the 600 or something like that. And then everybody else win all the single entries and everything in between. Good luck to everyone tonight, and let's crush it.